the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 101 of Powerbombshells.
101.
I am Sam, and that is Mel. We are just two broads talking about the wrestling we watched. Sorry, we're a little late today. We were having some technical difficulties, as of course happens right before we're trying to get on air. But we are here now, so thank you for being patient with us.
In classic podcast fashion.
Yes.
Nothing can ever be easy. There always needs to be an extra. Have you ever seen, I showed it to a friend this week, John Mulaney did a fantastic little bit on robots, asking you about being robots all day.
Uh-huh.
And it was utterly hilarious. And I will link it to you sometime. But it is so funny because it's like, he basically goes through this comedy bit about how we spend most of our day telling robots that we're not robots.
This is true.
I was like, and it's very funny. I won't butcher it, but it's excellent.
And today was just another example of that.
It was very like, are you a robot? You must be a robot. Like all I can think. Once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it was really fun because I showed it to a bartender friend when she was working because she was having issue with robots, and it made her laugh. So and I'm winning. Thank you, John Mulaney.
Daza said it's like Blade Runner, sort of.
Sort of.
All right, so we will we probably have a little bit of a shorter show today because Mel has in real life things to do. Her football team made it to the playoffs, and they have a very big game today, and it'll be a very long time before my team is back in that place. So I completely get it. You want to celebrate. She got some people to celebrate with and to watch with. So we're gonna root for the Lions along with Mel today.
Thank you. And I don't want to pose. I mean, I don't want to front too much. This is my hometown. This is my home team right now, and they are doing awesome, and they're having a historic run, and my team is long out of the situation. And honestly, I kind of said it today. It's like, I always want the home team to win unless they're playing my team, which, as you guys, if you've been around a while, know is the Seattle Seahawks. So it was my great pleasure to actually root against 49ers last night, but it just did not work out.
Tell Mike Gilbert.
Oh, we have beef every day. It's been a while since I've had friends in the NFC West, and now I have all these friends. It's always feast or famine. Like for the longest, like I have all these friends who are Eagle in the Philadelphia area. So I have a ton of Philly fans. I always know how Philly, and a bunch of friends in New York and Philadelphia. So I always know how Philly and the Giants or the Jets are doing.
Right.
And then there's my people, but I don't have a lot of my people because Garrett and Mike and all those guys are they're all 49er fans. So we get to get back in the
and congratulations to them for pulling it out last night. The only reason I was rooting for them is because that's who my boss and I have been doing picks all season, and that's who we pulled for, and we already got blown out with the Ravens. The Ravens take. We were trying to make, my boss is like, we got to make some picks that are kind of out of the box. So we were like, well, let's go with Houston because they had a great week last week, and then they got blown out last night. So I was like, please let the 49ers come through. And of course, it was CMC, who was a former Panther. And
I mean, at least you have a connection.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't want it because F the 49ers, and also if the Niners had, I won't miss a chance.
As you shouldn't. Do not.
Rivalries are what they are. We can be friends, but we
can't.
And not in game day though.
Not especially this deep into the season.
But the Lions also, if they pulled it out today, would have been able to have the NFC Championship game at home if the Niners had dumped that game. So sadly, they will have to make the trip out west if they win today. Not that that's bad, because I even was saying, I was like, well, the thing's in Las Vegas, so if they are to beat the Niners, and so I'll still have beef with Mike, which will be great. if that happens.
Well, that's all right, because Mike is Mike says I'm his enemy.
He's your enemy, so you need you to delete.
I'll be beefing with him anyway.
We have the most hilarious beef with him ever. It's like it's the kind of beef where it's like it's family beef, okay?
And it's funny because he because of that, he said he picked against Chris Sabin to win Hard to Kill, and then Chris Sabin ended up retaining his title. Speaking of, they're at Motor City is in Raleigh today. They're at DPW, so I'm very sad that I couldn't go to that, but have chose to go to Revolution instead. So yeah,
you're going to a really
good choices. I was like, I love Motor City, but I'm not missing Sting's last match. So
I was getting a little tricky because I was like, do I want to go to Revolution? And I was like, okay, I can't pull that out that fast. Because I was starting to feel like I really wanted to.
I think the last ticket update I saw was a few days ago, and they had 50 tickets left.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I think I could still pull it out, but more than
you
that,
could. Yeah, you might be able to. But yeah, it's looking. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, it's looking like this might be the best $75 I've ever spent.
Probably
75 plus taxes. So. Probably closer to 100, but
hey, it's okay. There's a bill in Congress to get rid of garbage fees.
I know. I need that to pass immediately.
Ticket. I am all on that because that would hit ticket companies, and they can go F themselves with that dynamic pricing stuff.
Yes,
that is a load. I was looking at potentially going to a comedian downtown, and it's starting tickets are $100 for the nosebleeds, and I'm like, it's a great venue, and that's fine.
Sure.
And if I really wanted to see a person, but
it's turned. There's been so many concerts that Nikki and I have skipped out on just because it's not worth the price. I mean, because the prices are ridiculous, and I was like, I'm not paying. Like when we went to see Elton John on the first round of his farewell tour before the pandemic, and he had to stop everything, and so. And that's actually why I missed my first AEW show because they were in Charlotte, and I missed it because I was that Elton. But we had to get, because the tickets were and they were doing that stupid. I've learned to unclick the preferred pricing or the preferred seating because that helps. Helps. But at the time, I didn't realize that's what was driving it up. So Nikki and I ended up getting VIP packages, like a lower tier VIP package, because it was cheaper to do that than to sit anywhere else. And plus we ended up getting a whole bunch of cool Elton merch. I don't have it hanging up right now, but I had we got this really nice photo of him playing the piano. We've got a pin, and we got all kinds of cool stuff with it. That came a week before the show. So I was like, well, at least we have that. But yeah, concerts. The whole
thing, even wrestling.
Yeah, because even wrestling, I was gonna say, it's ridiculous.
We talked about this and I know that it wasn't just me because John Muse had the exact same thing as our same seats from a year previous were about 200% more.
That's insane. And then you have Lisa, and Lisa was talking about how the all-in tickets are where she sat last year are twice as much now than they were last year, which is insane, especially in this economy.
Except for Revolution, they're not really. I mean, they're starting to pick up a little bit, so maybe it'll start to get demandy. But except for Revolution, they're not really sold out on anything right now. I could I think tickets, and I can still wait it out and maybe get cheaper all-in tickets.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised. Taking off that preferred seating really helped me find ticket.
Thank you for telling me that.
When we were, because my friend Matthew told us, and he was like, make sure you unclick it, because his tickets came, we were all, so it was I was trying to get mine and Nikki's tickets. Matthew was getting tickets for him and his wife. Our other friends were getting tickets. It's so we're all at the same time, our group text is and he sent that text. He's like, remember to unclick that. So because we got pre-sale tickets, and between pre-sale and the first day of tickets, they sold 12,000. seats. And so like they were even showing me $25 tickets, and they were decent for $25. But of course, every time I clicked on like everything
They
I
were
clicked
gone
on
already.
Like, yeah, that's $50, the $50 tickets. And so I ended up, and it's funny, we didn't even realize it until I was talking to Matthew a couple days ago, and we are in the same section, but we're separate rows. Like he's in double K and we're in double Q. So I was like, Nikki said, we'll wave to you as we're walking up all those flights of stairs to go. So
that's, I think, how we ended up. We were a couple of rows forward in the lower bowl. And actually, like John Muse has got the inside scoop. Like, listen to that guy about where to buy tickets.
Right.
So at LCA, he had us like right on the one side of which is just lower bowl. And we actually did end up getting out of there. Not too, I mean, it wasn't as bad, but it was definitely more expensive this second time.
Yeah.
But I did the same thing for Forbidden Door and tried to get in that same area. And that was so super smart. Like that is... Right. If you want to sit on the not hard cam side, that's like the place to be, I feel like. So
yeah, we're in the lower bowl, and like I was looking at the map the other day, like we're just off the side of the ring. Like I think we'll still be able to see fairly well. Like I was surprised for what we paid, and like for it being this pay-per-view, like I think we're gonna have pretty decent seats. And then excuse me, so I was like, in this card just feels like, I feel like there's going to be the potential for so much more to be added.
I'm really
to this
glad
card.
you're going. I'm going to miss you on the pre-show, but
yes, I'm going to miss doing the pre-show.
But well. It's like, you know what? This is like, and I have an idea for someone to invite just because of some. So, but regardless, surprise. It's Sting's retirement show. Like you're going to, it's not just Revolution, which is like the first show that we did together on here. Yeah. And like we did, I don't know if we did a pre-show, but we did
I think we did. Yeah, we did the post show for the first time. That was like our first episode. So Revolution is definitely special to the Powerbombshells, and
it's a Powerbombshells event, even like
right, exactly.
But I'm excited that you're gonna be there, and I'm like, and this is like, and I was like, gosh, if I had thought of this sooner, I think I would have probably jumped on this one, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it is Sting's retirement,
and that's the whole thing that,
I love what the Bucks are doing, because I'm reading their book right now, and this is what made them the Bucks. They're doing exactly what made them popular in the first. I don't know if I like the material that they're utilizing.
I'm not crazy about it, but I think they'll kind of move. I think they might move away from it a little bit, like now that they've got it out there, and I'm hoping. But
but it's like, where I love how they got over in PWG. Like that was they was owning what people said that was shitty about them. Yeah, and making it kind of funny, and I actually love that version of them a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun, and like I didn't realize it until someone, I think Phil Lindsay, pointed it out that they
are doing the Vince mustache.
Have the Mr. McMahon
I
mustache.
I didn't until you said
I didn't click. It didn't click until as somebody in the group, our group chat, said it. We were like,
pointed it out to me.
It's the tan that they also have the really bad tan. I'm glad that they're like that,
because to me they looked like, my immediate thought, because of my age and the fact that I've watched a ridiculous number of cartoons as a kid, was they very much looked like old school cartoon villains. Like they were going to tie a damsel in distress to a pair of train tracks, and they were going to twirl their mustaches. But then that's kind of funny, because Vince McMahon kind of could be that guy. So I mean, like I mean, it's not like
on multiple levels.
It's a little hyperbolic version of it, but then when you said that, I was like, oh, I can't unsee that.
I'm sorry. I've got to remember they're Matthew and Nicholas now.
I mean, I don't like it. I think they need to watch it.
I think, there were some things that I didn't care for with that, but I think the best line was when they said to Renee, "Did you get your paycheck this week? You're welcome." Like that. It's perfect. Like that's what they lean into the fact that these people have jobs because of you, because without AEW, a lot of they wouldn't have TV jobs, at least a lot of them would not. So I was like, lean into that, and like that part of it I'm all for, because I was like, get the other crap out of your system, and then let's just move on and do the other stuff, which I kind of
the Renee stuff is perfect. That popped me hard.
And the way she just looked at them like,
she's so great.
She looked at them like, I will kill you.
Renee is my one of my all-time.
Great.
I love having Renee. I'm so glad she's at AEW. She's someone I've always looked up to, as just because I think she's a really competent broadcaster. I think she's really great at what she does. I've listened to John Moxley mark out about her and how much he loves it. It's so cute.
Yes.
I love her tweets. She uses Twitter right. Like, her tweets are hilarious. Like, when he's doing death matches and stuff, and she's like, But now I love that her her revenge is always posting like cute pictures of him with Nora, and so it's like, haha, if I have to watch you like split your head open and do all these things, then I'm gonna make the internet see you as this like little softie being adorable with your daughter kind of thing.
Right.
And then her influence backstage is undeniable. Everybody is better.
I mean, Excalibur is correct. She's truly remarkable.
She is remarkable, and she every time like always want to see what I'm never like this, but I always want to see it's Hangman Page and Renee. What are they wearing?
Right? Yeah.
Renee's
always, her style's fantastic.
Everything, and she wears it so awesome, and she wears different stuff, and I'm like, that pantsuit is amazing.
Right? Yeah. She always looks
pantsuits aren't allowed to look amazing, and she just
yeah, she's
I love her so
and
much.
It's so funny. My other favorite, like, I love like when she reacts like that, when she's rude, but God, it's so funny to watch her try not to break, especially when she's like, I was like, who was it that is always that? Well, they are always
Tony and Saraya, because
Tony and Saraya.
Tony tries to do it because whatever, and her and Saraya, I think, are close from.
They are, and so
that's partially like insider stuff. That's like if your best friend was like working with you.
Yes. And then when Tony, like the other night, when she yelled that she wanted to punch her in the box, I was like, oh my God. And she like had to turn her head, and like it was perfect. I think that a lot of people now, their goal is to make Renee break when they are talking to her. except for Nicholas and Matthew. They just want to be mean, but she's really great. I do have to
but
give.
They might start doing it like they're being so mean, and they're being so like.
Well, and there was the stuff about.
She's so cute. I love that. That's actually, to me, that would be a badge of honor. It's like, I'm so good at this that their goal, everyone is trying to break. Like, don't overdo it.
Right. No, not at all.
Everyone's trying to break.
Yeah, Daddy Magic does it a lot too, but that's just because that's how I think it's just him. Daddy Magic's personality. But, I was thinking about how they were being mean to her, and there's the stories of like, there were the sort of when she was on commentary for Raw that Vince was really mean to her and would yell at her I know he yelled at everybody in the headset, but there were times I heard that I feel like she's talked about that he was really mean to her. And so I kind of wonder if that's why another reason they're kind of leaning into that is because they know that like when she was doing commentary that Vince was not nice to her. So, but I will say, as much as I do love Renee, I want to give a shout out to Lexi Nair, because she has really on Collision. She doesn't do it as much. She's kind of more like, she's a little more, I don't want to say professional, because she's professional in ROH, but her character is, you see it more on ROH because she's done so well with Athena and Billy, but now she's doing it with Dalton Castle, and Dalton's playing this really great character now, and she plays really well into it, and she just looks great, and you can tell she's finally comfortable with herself and her job, and just letting her I think Tony just kind of lets her do what she wants in ROH, and it's really working for her, and she's a lot of fun to watch, especially because in the beginning she was I don't want to say timid, but she was very careful with how she was just very, I guess, by the book, and she didn't really show a whole lot of personality, but now that she's very funny. And she has great timing with Billy and Athena, and now Dalton Castle, and she's working with, and like Taya and John Morrison, or Johnny TV and all that. So she is doing a great job in ROH. I really enjoy her work.
I noticed with her that she had what she needed, and then I think having Renee there to emulate is exactly what she needed. Because that is when that to me was something that I noticed that when I talk about the backstage staff like the backstage work getting better, I mean that like I think Lexi having that to look at. I just because she clearly started to elevate as soon as she saw that, oh, you can do that kind of stuff with this, like, because sometimes it just takes someone with more experience than you showing you like what's possible, because you don't know until you know.
Right.
And
exactly.
I love now that it's the backstage people are two really, I mean, Alex Marvez is great and he does his thing.
Yeah, I enjoy Alex.
On me too, but it's basically like two ladies that are kind of the primary backstage broadcast,
right?
Like, and they know, and she's learning how to interact, and Renee knows how to act because she knows her job so well that she knows exactly what to do. But it proves like having that element helps other women.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It's I think Lexi was like right there, and then it was like, oh crap, I can do that. Like, sometimes
and I'm sure
just,
she
like,
picks.
even
I'm
playing
sure
sports,
she picks
it's
Renee's
like
brain.
someone shows you a move you never saw before, and you're like,
right,
like breakthrough. And I'm glad because that she has ROH. And if Renee is, and then you've got these two strong women doing the backstage.
Yeah, and she does Collision sometimes too.
Yeah, she does.
On Collision, she's a little more reserved, I guess. But like in ROH, she's able to. Yeah, but in ROH, she's really able to just do all kinds. And I think now that we've seen it, and I like that it's not just with Athena and Billy. Now that we've seen it, now she is like Dalton is the perfect person to like play off with that, especially with the character. Like Dalton's character has gotten even more like insane, like the last few with what he's been doing since, well, it started right before Final Battle, but his thing now is like that he hasn't slept since Final Battle because Johnny TV cost him the spot because they were in the big survival of the fittest match. There were 6 of them. Johnny TV got him out of the match, and so now he has not slept. He just, his hair is always awry.
Sorry about my hat, guys. It's being a dick.
Fine.
There we go.
And he keeps cheese in his jumpsuit. He gave Lexi warm cheese the other day to get him to go talk to Johnny TV for him, because he's like, he likes you. Will you go talk to him for me? And she was like, no, I don't want to. And he was like, go. And he gave her a piece of cheese and he was like, thank you. And she's like, it's warm. He said, yeah, it's been in my jumpsuit.
That's exactly what I'm just like.
It's so
all I can picture is like a piece of cheese that's been in a little kid's hand for the last like.
Oh no, I'm sure it has been.
That's all it. I feel like.
Like, and he came down before that. Like, he came down to the ring a few weeks ago with a turkey and cheese sandwich that was like half eaten, and like just he was despondent, and like he's Dalton Castle, and he's always been a great character, but he's doing some of his best character work.
He's going through a thing right now.
It's great. Like, he's leaning into it, and it's so good. And he's like, I see so many people, and I'm glad they agree. They're like, Dalton Castle should be on TV every week. And I was like, yes, welcome to what I've always been saying. But I'm glad that he's having just like a really good stuff. And Johnny TV is actually somebody that works really well, and that's like as his foil, like they work really well together. And Johnny TV, because Johnny TV can lean into the ridiculous stuff too, just like in a different way, but they work really well together. Now Taya's involved a little bit, and it's fun. So ROH is and while we're on the topic of ROH, I would like to say that sometimes bullying works, because we have finally bullied Tony enough that he put the Ring of Honor tag team titles on Honor Club last week. So they announced it. It was funny because like a couple of weeks ago we've talked about it. I don't know, God, probably every episode I probably bring it up, but we clipped that conversation we had, and I wrote the article about how they haven't been and on the titles haven't been defended in Honor Club since July. The Kingdom haven't been on there since the week before they were last defended. And lo and behold, last Thursday, and I think you're muted.
It goes back to when we did the thing with Paul. You're right, I'm muted. But when we did at the end of last year or earlier last year, it was maybe the like Mania weekend show where the Supercard of Honor or whatever, where we had a whole conversation about like why should I subscribe? Like we've been talking about it since like last.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot.
Year, I think, is how long we've been talking.
Probably. Yeah, and so they got, and it was against the Iron Sausages / Savages. So I was like, Iron Sausages. And so I was like, oh my God, bullying works. We made it happen. Wow. And yeah, because it was funny because I quote tweeted it, was joking. I was like, oh, did he read my article? And this another woman I follow that does some media stuff, she was like, or maybe it's because she wrote something similar. And so I was like, she's like, we won. I was like, finally. And I was like, now. And I was like, but now we have to get the Bang Bang Gang down to Honor Club because they won the 6-man titles on Dynamite last week, which I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised that they did that, just because Mogul Embassy they've held the site like this last title reign was 77 days, and I believe the title reign, because they held it before then, I think it was like 200 and something days. So they're kind of like, that's other than like when they dropped it to the Hung Bucks for 5 seconds, and of course they never appeared on Honor Club. They didn't even appear on TV with those titles for like 3 weeks, and they're like, oh yeah, they have the titles, we should put them on TV.
We should probably put
then they dropped them on. So we thought, okay, they're doing this to get Final Battle subscriptions. Then they dropped
so many titles they don't remember.
then they dropped them back to Mogul Embassy. So I was a little surprised. Like, I had actually walked out of the room. I went to the kitchen to do something, and Nikki was like, Bang Bang Gang won the titles. And I was like, what? I came back in there and they're holding up the titles. And so I had to watch like the replay of it, and how like the Acclaimed helped them. Anthony Bowens kept Prince Nana from attacking Jay White with the title.
Right.
And and so they were able to win. And then obviously we saw last night that they formed a super group, and they are the Bang Bang Scissor Gang now.
We just need paper.
Yes, exactly. This is true. This is true. So
we got Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and we got
yes, this is true.
Gang.
Yeah,
so we
need paper. Yeah,
and then we can have a faction called Rochambeau.
There you go. I like it. It works.
Book it.
Yeah. Book it. But yes, so I'm hoping that we'll see. And the thing with because I was writing about this the other day, the thing with Bullet Club Gold is two of them have ties to ROH. Jay did his excursion in ROH in 2016 and 2017, and as he said in the promo that they cut after they won, he was in the inaugural tournament to crown 6-man champions. And so he was in that. And then Austin Gunn was talking about how he was in the 2017 Top Prospect tournament. And Jay was like, oh, you won that? And he was like, no. And Colton's like, he was a runner-up. And he was like, shut up, it's not important. And so the two of them have ties to ROH. So, and of course they have the ROH, have some ROH titles. So I'm hoping they'll be an Honor Club. So I'm like, you very much have them go back and forth like every other title that's not the women's title that's defended on both. So I was like, I'm hoping that means we'll see them on Honor Club, because I feel like Jay White would probably not be opposed to, like, I don't think he's not too big of a star to go down to. Listen, if you can get Shibata on Ring of Honor, then you can go down to Honor Club for a little bit.
I feel like Jay White, under the right circumstances, has no problem doing anything that's going to elevate the profile of, like,
exactly.
Jay White is smart. He's smart about wrestling, not just a smart star and a smart wrestler. He is like, he knows what he's doing. I mean,
right. Yeah. I love that guy.
Like, I watch what he's doing here after having watched how he progressed in New Japan. And I'm like, he can get anything over.
He really can. Really, I mean, he got a cardboard cutout over.
I know, and now they When they brought it back last night, I was like, this is amazing.
There was in the promo that they cut afterwards, like after they won, they killed Cardblade. Cardblade doesn't exist. He's gone. Which makes me sad. I should have, when I was at Collision, I should have bought the Cardblade that they had, because now I'm sad.
Only be one.
So they killed him, but then they're like, we have that, or they keep they were like referencing Juice, and then obviously he's gonna be out for some time, apparently, with whatever this injury is,
right?
And then it just cuts, and it's the cardboard, and they were like, what should we call it? And Juice Jay was like, what did he call it? Like Juice Hard. Like it was some crazy name, and they were like, that's good, but we'll just go with, and I think it's Juice Blade. I think is what or Juice Board. Wait, now I can't remember what they're calling it, but it fits in with everything they're doing. So I'm glad they're making Juice be a part of this, even though he's not there and is going to be out for some time. And so I do want to come into this comment over here that Bullet Club Gold got to be turned on the Acclaimed eventually. I think so.
Oh yeah,
I think that's where that's going.
Be fun anyway. Do a little time together and then totally turn on each other.
Yeah,
there's
that
so
could
many
be, and that could be something we
group.
see like Double or Nothing, or maybe they drag it out a little bit long. I don't know if it'll go all the way to All Out. Yes, Nikki. Oh, okay. Juice Box is what Jay said.
Juice
she thinks.
Box, nice.
Yeah, it was like Juice Box, and then somebody had another crazy. It was like 4 different. It was some crazy thing that, of course, that you would expect from them. But yeah, I wondered, because somebody last night said they wondered if they thought the Bullet Club, I think it was Brad actually said that he thought Bullet Club Gold was going to turn on the Acclaimed, and then they would eventually merge the trios and 6-man titles. I don't know if they will. I mean, maybe the 6-man titles are used pretty often in ROH and have been for a while. So I could see maybe it's just the ROH 6-man, and they do away with the AEW trios titles, even though those titles were
haven't
created.
Really done anything with them. They should have them, but they haven't really done anything with them. So maybe eliminating them isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I'm not generally for merging titles on 2, especially because they're 2 different brands. And I know that's also Tony's fault, because he books ROH titles on AEW television. And that's a whole other conversation that we've had multiple times. Yes. But that, I guess, if they're going to merge any titles, I guess
to hear us talk about it.
Yeah, I guess if they're going to merge any titles, I would be okay with those. And again, and I love Bullet Club Gold, and so I'm happy they have the titles, but we've talked about it a few times. I think they should put it on Top Flight and Action Andretti, because Action Andretti stepped up so much for Top Flight both times people were injured in that tag team, and he stepped up and he did a lot of really great things for them. And I think that the 3 of them work really well together, and I would like to see them hold those.
Could you maybe do
titles.
Like an Anarchy in the Arena to unify those?
That would be fun.
At Double or Nothing, with all those, like with the Acclaimed and Top Flight and the Bang Bang Gang, and the winner gets the
something like that would be cool. And even if they did put Top Flight and the Acclaimed in it, like I think that would be fun, like to do an anarchy.
Because that's a lot of really
those
good
personalities,
teams, and there's a lot of really good feuds. They're getting together, but they're clearly going to turn on each other. So like it's a what do they call it? A relationship of convenience there, or whatever.
Right.
But,
well, especially because the Guns don't get along with their dad. So like that right there is plenty for them to go back to, and they can go back to that story.
Because Double or Nothing or something like that would be in an arena, so that would be Anarchy in the Arena.
Yeah,
so
that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about. Man, that would be fun. Yeah, I don't know what Juice's timeline was. I can't remember what the timeline was. I know it was a while. Like he's gonna be. It sounded like, I don't know if it was a year or if it was like 9 months. I really don't remember what the time frame was. I know it was a while. But he has been gone since November, because it was before Full Gear. So
what was his injury? Do you know?
I either don't remember or they didn't specify.
Okay.
But I know
a lot of times they don't. So
the TV thing, where they attacked him with the TV, was obviously to get him off TV, because the injury was that. Like they had to hurry up and get him off TV. He was injured in a match like 2 weeks before, I want to say. I don't know where, I can't remember all the details. But I don't know if they said what the exact injury was. I'll have to look into it, or
We
maybe
can look it up sometime.
somebody in the replies. No, well, I guess I could look it up right now. But yeah, I don't remember. Let's see. Oh, Juice Robinson injury is the very second thing that comes up. It's a back injury that could require surgery.
Okay. So yeah.
Oh no, it will require surgery. So yeah, it says
so that's
there's no
a
one
pain in the. Well, I think we both know, and
we do.
well,
we
we
do
all
have
know what that takes.
We both have loved ones who have had back surgery, and so Mel and I are very aware of how that all works. And yeah, that could be. Yeah, it says there's no word on when Robinson suffered the injury or how long he will be out of action, but he's expected to be as speedy as possible, barring any unforeseen obstacles, which we know with back injuries, there could be unforeseen obstacles. So hopefully,
back injuries are notorious for being back injury.
Yeah, I mean, look at how long it took. Thunder Rosa to come back, and Jamie Hayter is still not back. There were rumors that she was going to be back in February. I haven't heard anything in months about her. I mean, maybe they're purposely keeping it quiet so it's a surprise. But we also know back injuries are. I mean, Britt Baker supposedly has a pretty bad back injury right now. So like, and we know Kenny Omega had some bad back stuff a while back, along with 9 million other things that he had going on. So yeah, hopefully. Yeah. They definitely miss him, but I think that they have done a really good job of keeping on with the three, and especially now that the Continental Classic is over and they can kind of go back to what they were doing before. Mm-hmm. So I think their story with the Acclaim can be a lot of fun, and the Acclaim needs something different, and I think they can play really well into what Bullet Club Gold does. So that'll be interesting to see. And now I want Anarchy in the arena with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just like, wait, you said it, and I was like, because like you wouldn't want just like an 8-man or something. You'd want like something fun, because those groups have so many creative people in them.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be perfect for.
So you need something to really showcase, because they can do a lot of fun. Like that's a lot of fun people that could do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they've announced a location for Double or Nothing yet. I guess it's too early, but I wonder where they would.
I mean, it's going to be in Vegas, though, right? I mean.
Is Double or Nothing? That's
wait, or where they usually have it. No, I mean,
is it Vegas or is it All Out? Oh wait, no, maybe I was thinking of All Out's in Vegas, right?
No, it's Double or Nothing. Is
no, you are right. It is Double or Nothing
on Memorial Day, and All Out is on Labor Day, and
that's right. I got
somewhere around here sometime.
Crossed. You're right.
Tony needs to run a pay-per-view here in Detroit. If the NFL draft can come here, Tony can come here for a pay-per-view.
Sure. Right, exactly. And then if Detroit goes to the Super Bowl, then that's just all the more reason.
Well, that was what I was even saying today. I was like,
maybe because maybe he's involved with the Jags, maybe not for him, but
well, no,
because are opposite divisions though. So
I mean, we were close, I think, a couple of times. But
yeah,
because there's a lot of, and this is like the perfect time because they're dumping so much money into the city because of the NFL draft.
Right.
This would be a really great time. Tony could probably get a really like sweet setup for a pay-per-view here.
If Tony is listening, or anybody who watches on Tony's behalf.
Oh, I know someone from Detroit that talks to Tony on occasion who
okay, well then if you are watching, Mel has hit Mel up and she can tell you where to run in Detroit and why.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you guys had and like you said, he kind of liked it when you at Forbidden Door when he ran it there and was like, maybe we should do. Was it not Forbidden Door?
Well, when he was here for the most recent, they did the first Blood and Guts here,
yeah.
And then the second one, the second time they were here was when Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega and the Steel Cage. But we were all chanting pay-per-view at him, and he was like, okay. Like every time he came out, and you know how he likes to come out during shows.
Oh, yeah. He came out when I was at Collision. He came out.
He kind of stopped coming out because he kind of got sick of us chanting.
He's like, all right, I got it. Yeah, our crowd was chanting for Dalton Castle. And then it sounds like Dalton Castle was actually there because I saw the following week there was a promo segment that aired. And I was like, you mean Dalton Castle was here and I didn't even get to see him?
Our arena is basically, they have a lobby and a lounge, and then it's right by the Motor City, what's called the Motor City Casino, which is like the big casino downtown.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
And I've told you about this before, is why I thought that if they ever wanted to move Double or Nothing, first of all, it's not going to be cheap but it would be way less expensive to stay here in the city and there's a bunch of really
especially over holiday weekend.
Even over a holiday weekend, it would still be cheaper than Vegas.
Yes.
And but the cost of things here is not as high either, and so it would be like, just in general, like there's a lot of great nice places that you can go here that would, like, your money would go further, and there's a lot to see.
Yeah.
It's a really historic city. You could, like,
especially with wrestling history.
The Ford Museum, like we have the Ford Museum, we have all kind of the Edison, like we have Greenfield Village is like a whole like remade, like Tesla and Edison and all that. We went there for Halloween one year, but I mean, I'm trying to put over my city, obviously.
I hear you,
but
fair enough.
It would be. I think people would be shocked at how much fun they could have at a pay-per-view here, and the people here are a lot of fun, and we are wrestling fans, and this is a wrestling territory, so I mean, a lot of people get jealous of us. They're like, GCW really seems to come. They seem to bring it when they come to you. I was just
telling Nikki last night. I was like, I don't think they're ever coming back to Charlotte because they released like another set of cities, and they're like going back to St. Louis, and I think they're going to like Slab City or something. It looked like in the video from last night, and I was like,
I need to chat.
They're never coming back here. I think they're coming. I feel like they announced Detroit, but maybe not. I can't remember.
Oh, you know what? They probably already did, because it's usually I feel like the last 2 years it's been around May.
Yeah, they came the first time they came here. They came in August, and then they came back in January last year.
Suzuki,
and they came in January last year, and that's when it was Vikingo. That's when Vikingo first started wrestling in the US, was like the December before that. And so we got Vikingo in the main event against Gringo Loco. And then that's the last time they've been here. They've only been here twice because we're like but I was like, but they go to Atlanta sometimes. And I'm like, why aren't you looping back up here to come to, but it may also be because there's not an indie to kind of piggyback off of. And they can't bring in, because they were kind of like bringing in talent, bringing in some local people. I mean, DPW is here, but they're primarily in Raleigh as their home base. And then like today is their last show in North Carolina for a while, is what they are saying. They're going to Texas next. And then I'm sure more cities are going to get announced.
Oh, that's right. DPW is on their way to doing a tour now, so I need to keep I've been keeping my eyes out for
I have been too, because I was like, if they announce Detroit, I'm sending it to Mel.
You need to, definitely. Thank you.
Because I have a friend of mine is going to the show in Texas, partially, I mean, mainly because Brian Keith he's been able to watch him in the Texas scene, and he was like, I don't know how much longer he's going to be around. Because there's rumors, like they announced, there's something that came out the other day that said that Brian Keith he has a deal with AEW. They don't know if it's a per appearance deal or if it's a lower tier deal or something. Because he's actually in Japan right now. He's wrestling at for DDT Pro. He wrestled last night. He wrestled Mao, and I think he's there for a couple of days. And so
Leighton Buzzard did the OTT Rumble. They did their own OTT did their own Royal Rumble last night. John was at, and it was supposed to be like a no foreigners thing, but then I guess Leighton Buzzard showed up, and there was somebody else. Oh, what did he tell me? I was like, I'm starting to like. They've got a bunch of people that like LJ Cleary has been wrestling there, and I was like, anybody I would know, and he was like.
LJ Cleary had that really good match with when we were talking last week.
And I knew who it was.
Mirage, who was
John.
wrestled LJ Cleary when he had the international, when it was the international title. I mean, not the international, it was the All Atlantic. Pac wrestled LJ Cleary, and they showed it on Dark, and it was a really good match. I'd never seen him before, but that was a really great match.
Oh, and Grado was there.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yes. So I was like, wait, it was someone I know is familiar, and someone we even talked about might be on Wembley, and I just like couldn't bring it. And then apparently there's a gal, her name is called Anita Vaughn, and he says that she's got a lot of potential. So
awesome, very cool, cool.
I was joking that she was telling her she should call herself Onita Vaughn and start blading, and I was like, I would say that she should put on horn rim glasses and stuff, but Moxley's already stolen it. But I didn't know this is apparently so. Moxley stole Wild Thing from Onita, and Onita stole it from Major League.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. I learned that today.
I think I heard. Well, I think I had heard that because I knew obviously it was very popular.
So today I
Major
learned.
League, but I believe I had heard that's where Onita got it from.
I was like, that's awesome. I love that movie. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite sports
Major
comedy,
League is a great
just
movie.
movies in general.
Fantastic.
But I love it. So the fact that I didn't realize the full circle part of that, and I was just like,
everything is wrestling, like they say.
Awesome. That's wonderful. It's like so many things I love, all packed into one, and all circling back to wrestling.
Of course, because everything is wrestling.
Wrestling is life, or life is wrestling. I don't know. I mean, everything is kind of a work.
This is true. Well, and speaking of indies, there is somebody who has made their way to the indies and is killing it. And his name is Mustafa Ali. And Ali we trust is the hashtag and the mantra. And of course, and Ali I trust as well. But yeah, this dude is killing it. Like, Mel and I talked about it when the promo came out, and I was like, go ahead and just name him Wrestler 2024. And then he took that challenge, and they've only announced like a few days, like not a few, but like basically from now until I think he's up. Well, I was going to say up until March, but that's not correct. Actually, I was looking at his Twitter today because I was getting some stuff for the slide that I put together, and he is coming to Raleigh in July for a promotion I've never even heard of before.
Should I bring that up?
I will. You can, or I will. Either way.
Oh, okay. You should.
Yeah. So we know as of last Saturday that he put out the challenge to Hiramu, and he was trash talking Daryl a little bit. So, and he was trash talking. He said you're something about how he comes out with a stuffed animal, and so
that's not just any stuffed animal, yo.
Exactly. And I was like, Mustafa, are you trying to be a heel here? What are you doing?
Wait. Oh, this is so exciting. I got to see him here in Detroit because he came to one of our Evolve shows. And he was so cool. Good. Like, I'm excited that he's back. He is like, oh, I'm so excited for him. I'm so happy for him.
Me too. I'm really excited. And then
I'm so glad you're free, sir.
Hiramu responds, and it's a picture of him, and he's holding Daryl. He's kind of like looking around him. And so they accepted it, made it official. And off of 2 matches that were announced, Windy City Riot has sold out. They sold I think the word we had heard was 3,600 tickets. They will be adding, I think they'll open up and add more, but that's the biggest show that they've had in the US in a while. So I'm really excited.
Dave said they can get it up to, I was listening to him talk about exactly this. I think he said they could get it up to like max at like 7,000.
That would be, but 7 for New Japan in the US in Chicago would be
ridiculous.
Huge. Yeah, and even at 3,600 selling out, they sold out in 4 days. Like, the match was made on Saturday. Naito versus John Moxley was made on Saturday, and I think by Wednesday, they sold out, which is crazy.
I mean, that's 2 matches that have like American New Japan fans written all over them,
right? And it's in Chicago, which is Mustafa's hometown. That's where he's from, so they are going to come out.
I didn't really realize. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so this is going to be huge for him. I'm hoping, we've talked about it a few times, talked about it last week. I'm hoping this means that Mustafa's going to be in BOSJ. I hope this is opening the door for that, because he would kill it in BOSJ. That would get, especially now with all the other news that has come out, they need somebody like Mustafa. And I don't know that he would sign. I don't know that he would sign full time. Maybe he would. Who knows? But I think at least getting him in there for a tournament like BOSJ, where it's like, what is it, 2 weeks long, roughly, something like that.
Yeah, it's a short one. It's like John always calls it the warm up for G1.
Yeah, it really is.
To get you ready for G1, that and the New Japan Cup, they kind of like warm you up.
Yeah, I mean, even if Mustafa was, that would. I
think Best of Super Juniors would be a good showcase for him to wrestle a bunch of those guys right now that are coming through.
I think a lot of us are our first exposure to him was the CWC and WWE. That's where I saw him the first time.
Yeah, me too.
And I became an instant fan. And then, like, of course, my favorite feud was the one he did with Cedric. I loved the Heart and Soul feud that they did, and then they got the Mania match out of it. And then of course, he had the really good feud with the former Buddy Murphy, who is now Buddy Matthews, and he actually tweeted about that yesterday because somebody posted a clip from the match, and he quote tweeted and said something like, "When are we going to run this back?" And I was like, oh,
yes,
please. I don't care if it's in AEW. I don't care if it's on the indies. Please run it back, because they had an amazing feud. And so then I've been calling this before even this sold out, I was calling it the Mustafa Ali effect, because a tweet came out saying that he is, like, indie promotions are saying that, like, he's bringing in the most money as a former WWE star than they've seen in years. Like, he's just selling out. So he tweeted this. That is 1, 2, 3. I believe I counted this earlier. 7 shows that have sold out because he is on them. He tweeted the other day, Wrestling Prestige had 15 tickets left.
Nice.
and he is definitely, he's selling these shows out because people want to see him. And we were talking, and then look at these matches. Like he had the match. I haven't gotten to the match with Gringo Loco. I've gotten halfway through that GCW show, and then, like, a million other things happen, and I'm hopefully going to finish it tonight. But, like, he's been killing it. And then, like, his entire Canadian tour, which was 3 shows, he sold all of them out. And then there was somebody, he retweeted this last night. This is from the C4 show last night, or not last night, Friday night, in Ottawa. That's the crowd that showed up. And I have a friend of mine on Twitter told me that he went to the show, and he was like, he said the vibe in there was crazy, and it was all because of Mustafa. And he got to meet him afterwards, and he was super nice. And I met Mustafa a few years ago. They were doing a pay-per-view on that Sunday, and he came on Saturday to a Walmart and did an autograph signing. And so Nikki and I went, and I was wearing a Cedric shirt, and he was giving me, he's like, "Who's that guy?" And he's like, I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him before. And so he was just really nice, and he's funny. And I got the pic, like, I didn't realize, like, I'm just posing normal in the picture, and because he had my hand. Then I looked at the pictures afterwards, and he's making faces, making it look like I was, like, awesome. He's, like, breaking his hand and stuff. Like, I had no idea, or I would have played into it more, but, like, it was great. Like, I love that guy. I'm a huge, huge fan of him as a wrestler and as a person. And I'm really happy that he's having this type of success. And then they announced what will probably be a match of the year candidate. Wrestling Revolver is doing a crossover show with House of Glory, and he is wrestling Amazing Red. Amazing Red is somebody, much like Motor City, does not get the credit he deserves for what he was doing on the indies and even just elsewhere. If you love the Code Red move, he is the inventor of he invented the Code Red. Then I found out a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I can't remember how I came across it, but he is Zelina Vega's cousin, which is why she does the Code Red. Is because of that's their connection. Cute. That's her connection to that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but Amazing Red is wonderful. I'm already gonna I should probably just go ahead and pencil this in on my match of the year list that I have going, because I know it's gonna be. I cannot wait for this match. Like, this was the thing. Like, I sent this to people, and they were like, "Holy shit, I can't believe we're getting this." And so I'm just over the moon that Mustafa is having this kind of success already, because I think a lot of us, when he asked for his release a few years ago and he didn't get it, and that's when the Free Ali tweets started, and this is what everybody's been waiting on. Was basically for him to be freed, and he is, and now he can go be the character that he wants to be. He can be the wrestler he wants to be. He can have all these incredible matches, whether he signs with anyone or he just kind of does his own thing and just kind of does. I mean, like, if there's anybody who can go the Matt Cardona route, I think it's Mustafa. Like, Matt Cardona has completely reinvented himself. He has made tons of money outside of WWE. He's everywhere. He's teaching other wrestlers like how to be successful. He's really good at merch and things like that. So I think like when I was talking to a friend and I was sending him, we were talking about how Mustafa keeps selling out shows and things like that. And he was like, I don't think we've seen anybody do this that left WWE since Cody, that has just gone to the indies and just set it on fire. And I was like, I don't think so either. Cause Mercedes didn't go to the indies or anything like that. And I think Cody probably is the last person. And Cody did, he did not just Ring of Honor, but he was doing so many indie, like that's how I saw him. I saw him at ROH, but I saw him at my indie promotion, did a meet and greet with him afterwards. And like, Cody was amazing. And he was just selling out things left and right and drawing big crowds. And he was having, like, even with Ring of Honor, like his meet and greets were so long that they were starting them before the show started, having to stop them, pick it back up in intermission, and then stop it again and pick it up, like, and so at certain shows. So I don't know if Mustafa's quite that level as far as meet and greets go. I'm sure. I think somebody did tweet a picture and his meet and greet line was really long. So I'm just so happy for him. And I
hope so.
I can't. And like, so he's got some, like I said, he's got an indie show at least in July. So I don't know if he's just going to do indies all year, maybe make a pit stop in Japan for a little bit. But I'm really excited for him. And if
I were him, I mean, this is just like me just talking out of my butt. But if it were me, I would like go do a bunch of stuff and get like he's been on the shelf. He's not been able to do it. Just go like reacclimate, reinvent yourself, do what you want to do. I mean, he knows the indies, so it's not like he just needs to refamiliarize. Get back with your friends, hang out with people, get a vibe. Like he should go to Europe.
I was just about to say he should
go wrestle. He needs to go wrestle in Rev Pro, but he should go wrestle in OTT.
Yeah, I was about to say Rev Pro and OTT.
Their guys are getting pretty good.
Yeah,
like Be Cool is pretty fun. Like that would be an interesting match or something like that. But that would be fun. I would. That's something I could, and I think that crowd especially would get over for him pretty big. So.
I think so too. Yeah, I would love to see him do some stuff like that. And then if he'd
be perfect for over there, though. I could see him like he would have been someone that almost like I'm shocked that he didn't show up in that match after John was telling me about it.
I think if he didn't have, if he wasn't doing his Canadian tour last night, he might have. Like he kicked off his tour in Paris. Like that's
Scrapper Mania coming up.
I was just about to say Scrapper Mania would be great for him.
Like February or March, I think.
Yeah, he's released a bunch of dates. I can't remember what. I don't know what.
Go.
Yeah, if he's available, they should bring him in.
They should book him.
He should be, and he should be.
I think they'd have a lot of fun over there.
Oh God, he'd be great in OTT, and he would be great in Yeah, I really hope he goes to the UK. He would kill it over there.
The Irish will love him. They love him.
I think so.
They will love him.
Yeah, Mustafa's great. So I'm just so happy that he's doing well.
Me too. I am too, because I saw him on the indies the last time I really watched him. Mustafa Ali match was on the indies in my, hall. And he was great and happy. And it felt like the vibe was awesome. And this has been I'm so glad, like that merger is like one of those things where it's like that merger got like that crusty old grudge holder out of the owner's chair, or at least out of the decision-making chair. And now people like Mustafa can go do what they need to do.
Right. Yeah. And just go have fun with it. And because clearly we've seen people will pay.
People will pay. I mean, he's selling out. He's putting butts in seats. That's true.
He is. He's putting butts in seats in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time. And then I've heard his matches have been, I really cannot wait to watch that GCW match with Gringo Loco, because I found out, like, I knew they obviously were both from Chicago, but I found out that they used to like train together and stuff. And they've known each other for a really long time. So the match was, I don't remember if it was we started the show last Friday, but I think that's when the match was. So I think it was last Friday, but everything that I've heard about the matches he's had so far, I've heard that they've been great. And that he looks incredible. And so I really can't wait to finish that match. And then I'm really excited for that match for Revolver with Amazing Red. Like, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. That will definitely, when we get to the Mania, more than the Mania weekend shows, that will definitely be because that's happening that weekend. It's happening in Philly. And so I'm very much looking forward
it's part
to
of the
one.
big wrestling, exciting 4-day extravaganza. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah, I think that, let me put that back up there. I think it's
April 5th.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Yep.
And so, yeah. And it's in,
so that'll be part
I'm almost
so
maybe that's where that is.
Watch that because I can do my.
I will go ahead and tell you now that if you like watching a lot of indie wrestling and you are not a subscriber, make sure it's Triller now. Used to be Fight TV and Fight Plus. It's like, I got grandfathered in because I think it's $7.99 a month or something like that. But you will definitely, even if you only subscribe for a period of time, get it during.
That's when I get it weekend. During that time.
And I think they still, I think they still do a week-long free trials. I'm not 100% positive on that. We'll definitely get some clarification, especially closer. I would recommend getting your free trial that week, or at least subscribing.
To do it.
Or at least subscribing and getting access to that, because there's so many shows because GCW's on there, Black Label Pro Wrestling. Shows. That's how I watch Wrestling Revolver. Like, I think House of
Bloodsport. Don't forget Bloodsport.
Yes, Bloodsport. Oh, I cannot wait for that show. And it's the 10th one. I can only imagine what he's got planned for the 10th
Josh
one.
Barnett, man, he wants shoot style to be a thing, and it still is. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
that's really like one of my favorite shows that weekend. It always is.
Me too.
So
yeah, they kill it. So yes,
and we get to you'll have that to tally your wrestling. I've actually kept track now. So
yeah, so if you are newer here, the last 2 years I've watched the More Than Mania shows and just crammed in like a bunch of the shows that I want to see. And so Mel keeps a tally of how many matches I watch and roughly how many hours of wrestling I watch over that period of time. Excluding, and then I do still watch Mania on top of that.
Yeah, we both do.
Yeah, we both did. And so Mel watches some stuff too. Like For the Culture is coming back. They've already announced that. So I'm really excited for that show. Like, they've announced some really cool stuff for the collective. Joey Janela Spring Break is back, and so is the Clusterfuck, which is on a different night. Those shows are always insane. And then like TJPW has a show. There's a couple other things that have been announced, and there's like GCW this year. They're doing GCW X TJPW, where it's kind of they're like have GCW wrestlers against TJPW wrestlers.
Oh, that's cool.
Last year they did that with DDT Pro. This year is TJPW, I believe, and so yeah, this year should be fun. So we'll have
Philly's
that.
Their wrestling city anyway, so
yeah. And so I think my guess is the Briscoes are going to get inducted into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame, because last year they did one, and people were like, the Briscoes should go in, and Brett was like, probably Philly, because that's closer to where they live, and the family can get to it.
Yeah,
if they want to come.
Philly.
Yeah, so they were. I have a feeling that's who they're. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure who they'll have induct them, but that's my guess is that they'll probably be inducted this year. So they'll definitely stuff to keep an eye on. So sometimes we do plan in advance what we're gonna cover, and that's definitely what we're gonna cover.
That's way in advance.
It is way in advance. So it's like I keep forgetting. I'm like,
we have really like the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber and Revolution between all that. Yeah, not that I'm going to watch all of those things. Well, you're going to have to watch a bunch of those. I have to be.
So. Yes. So if you follow me on Twitter, then most of you know that I have accepted a position with Wrestling Inc. and I am covering Raw and SmackDown. So I'm back to watching WWE. It's definitely been an adjustment. Still adjusting. It's not my style of what I typically like to see, but at least it's Mania season, so I expect it to really pick up. There's one of the things that I've really enjoyed. I've only been watching it back for like 2 weeks, so I'm just getting back into it, but I have thoroughly enjoyed watching Kevin Owens again. I've said that frequently. He's one of the people I miss the most not watching anymore, and I got to see Tyler Bate debut. That was actually my first article. I was writing my trial. I had to do a trial shift, and my first article was writing about Tyler Bate making his main roster debut. So that was cool. And then Friday night, I was like, who knew all it took was me watching again, and Pete Dunne got his name back.
I know. Thank you for doing that. Jeez.
I was like, oh, thank God. Except for
that's what I was gonna take. I would have had you watch with me last year when I was in the same position as you.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, or if you're Kyle O'Reilly, Peter Dune.
I feel it's like at least I'll watch the big shows this time of the year because I end up watching them during it's like with the Rumble coming up and me having Peacock back for free.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was like, yeah, I'll end up watching it. I always watch it.
Especially now because there's a very, very good chance that Trinity will be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean now there is obviously.
She did Friday night at Hard to Kill, which Hard to Kill was, I finally did get to see it. They put it up. So if you watched last week, I was TNA Plus does not allow two people to watch the same thing. You can only watch on one device. So unlike Bleacher Report or Fight or most other streaming services, only one
Audible
person
gives you like multiple devices.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's crap. So
but Bob and I can both listen to our Audible account separately.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so TNA Plus, you can't do that. And then it took them 24 hours. So they would put the replay up and then they would lock it and then they take it down. I guess they were having problems editing it, or they were trying to get it edited. So my friend he's not subscribed to TNA Plus. He bought the pay-per-view through them. So he only gets it for 30 days. Where if you buy it on Fight TV, you get it forever. But I did go back. Nikki and I watched Sunday night. It was a really good show. I thought they did an excellent job. I'm excited. Then, fortunately, as long as we've known about the TNA name change, we forgot that the DVR would need to be reset up under TNA and not Impact. And it was funny because at 7:59 on Thursday, like I was already watching ROH and I was like on my laptop and I was like, are we going to watch TNA live or are we just going to watch afterwards like normal? And she's like, Nikki was like, let's just watch afterwards. And we went to pull it up and it was not on the DVR. And we were like, it's because it's not Impact anymore. And so the DVR is not smart enough to figure out it's the same company.
It doesn't care.
No, it's not. It's not a smart robot. And so
the company's aren't smart enough to program the algorithm.
No, they aren't.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, so we didn't so we forgot. So now it's set up, but we were going to watch it on demand. Well, we went last night and it's not on demand. It's been 48 hours, still not up on demand. I was like, I just want to see this first episode. So, but yeah, so Trinity, obviously she lost her title to Jordan Grace. She did say something about how she wanted a rematch. Well, they had tapings in Orlando Friday night, and she got a rematch apparently. And then I had a friend who was there and she recorded her speech and it was her goodbye speech to the crowd, which was as expected. So the Royal Rumble is in is it the 30? Wait, what day is the Rumble? The 27th? I don't even remember. There's so much wrestling, I don't remember. But it's coming up soon enough. So I assume we're going to see her very soon. I'm not thrilled about that, but I hope that Trinity is okay. Vinkin's got us next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Perfect. Thank you.
Wait, that's the same night as the big Revolver show that's finally going to have John Moxley versus Gringo, because every time they do that match, something happens and they can't do it. And Gringo keeps saying that Moxley is ducking him, and that's the same night. Damn it. Now I have to watch the Rumble. I guess I'll be watching that on Sunday.
I mean, Do you think
But
so?
yeah, so I hope if Trinity is returning, if the rumors are true that she is returning, I hope that they paid her a hell of a lot of money.
Me
I
too.
hope
I hope she
that
got
they
paid, as our good
I
friend
hope
Jeff
that
Hawkins
I
likes to
hope that
say.
they are going to feature her prominently. I hope that she gets a title run of some sort. I hope they sell a ton of her merch. Because her fans are extremely loyal, as we have seen. She had a lot of really cool merch when she was in TNA that or Impact that she never got when she was in WWE. So I just hope, if it's true that she's returning, I hope she gets everything that she asked for. And I hope that they present her properly and treat her correctly. And I hope that she's happy if that's what she's doing.
Same.
Because she's great and I really enjoy her. I loved her run in TNA. It was a lot of fun. Or Impact. It was a lot of fun to see her do some different stuff there and kind of get to see her celebrated, where people loved her and she got to, people were made a big deal of her coming in, and really they treated her really well. It looks like, so at least on, with the on-camera presentation and stuff like that. So I hope that I hope she gets that wherever she goes next. So yeah. Yeah, so I guess the we should get to the other big news.
OKADA in the room.
The OKADA in the room. Yes. So so Thursday night, I'm getting ready to write my ROH article and get a text in the group chat that says holy shit. So it's like, better go click on. Sometimes if I'm getting ready to write, I'll put stuff off and go look at it later.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that and I was like, and I saw it said New Japan and I was like, what's this? And I was like, oh, holy shit. Nikki's like, so I was like, OKADA's leaving. And Nikki was like, what? I was like, OKADA's leaving. So I'm reading her the press release, and we were just like, Nikki was like, I wonder if that, like halfway through it, Nikki's like, I wonder if that's what Tony's tweet meant earlier. So earlier in the day, Tony tweeted and said, this is going to be a great year for AEW in 2024. And we were just like, okay. Well, then a little bit later, the ratings came out, and he tweeted about that. So we were like,
a lot of people thought that was what the tweet was.
Right. And so, because even in the group text, because I had sent the ratings tweet, and then Matthew sent that one, and I was like, I can't tell if those are related, or I was like, but on the other hand, it's Tony, and maybe he's cooking something else up. Well, maybe he was, because that tweet came just a few hours before. And then, so then I was like, let me send it to every single Slack group that I am in, because they're all wrestling related and we all can say holy shit together. And then I was mad because on Twitter, I tweeted holy shit. And then like 30 minutes later, I remembered I have a clip of OKADA from a press conference, and he just says holy shit, and it's really funny, and I completely forgot I clipped it. It was a missed opportunity, so I tweeted it. But that was pretty much my reaction to reading it, and I'm sure your reaction was probably pretty similar.
It was, I mean, I was hanging out with some people, and my phone, I forget that my phone blows up now because of wrestling stuff. And so sometimes I'm like totally, because I'm not used to being that, and then suddenly it's like you have 8 million tweeters and messages and weirdness. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, shit. And then I was just like, okay, I'm not getting into this right now. And Mike and JD were on that night, and I watched for a little while and couldn't.
I didn't get to hop on because I was I had to write this. I was like, well, it took me like a half hour to even start the article because I was in a multiple Slack, then in the text group. Like, so we're all like having conversations, and it took me a good like half an hour before I could even I need to go back and watch. I need to go back and watch Mike and JD's show. I did see, if you are a subscriber to this network, then you probably saw that, speaking of Strong Style, had an emergency episode on Friday. That's how big of a deal this is. That it's funny. I'm glad that they did the emergency episode, because I almost asked them if they wanted to come on today to talk about
okay, cool. If they hadn't done the emergency, we would have made sure. That actually would have probably been a good idea.
Yeah, because I was like, well, damn, maybe I should have them come on and talk about it. And then they were like, we're doing the emergency episode. And I was like, that makes more sense. I was like,
close one.
And so I did. I missed it live, but I caught up on it yesterday. And they had really good conversation and thoughts, and we'll get to.
And had they read what? Because I read what Dave wrote about it. And
Well,
that's like what I at least got through that part of the Observer yesterday.
I know that because they went live Friday afternoon. And they did.
So they probably had.
Yeah. And so there's actually, so obviously, from what everybody is saying, Okada has not made up his mind where he's going.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
He is free agent Okada. He's a free agent. I guess this is the first time in his career, right?
The war of 2024 is not over MJF. It's
over Mercedes
Okada
and Mercedes Moné. Those are your two.
Right.
2024. Yeah, because this is the first time Okada's ever been a free agent, right? He's been, because he's always been with New Japan, and then he did Excursion.
He ran away from home to Mexico and wrestled in Mexico until he made it in Mexico as a luchador, and then he came home when he was like 14 or something. He ran away when he was 12. He came back when he was like 14. And it was actually the whole like cute story is like Tanahashi is one of the people that gave him one of his first big breaks at got him into the New Japan dojo.
Well, and Ultimate Dragon was his trainer. Because I was reading, because Ultimo Dragon posted on Instagram a few days ago and said that ever since he was 15 years old, anytime he has a big decision, he comes and talks to him in person. And he said, Ultimo Dragon said, he's not made up his mind where he's going. He just said that he was leaving, and that he was not re-signing his contract, and that was pretty much it. And so, but go ahead with I didn't mean to stop your story.
No, that's it.
But that just shows you how Okada has always been destined to do what he does and to be. That's why he's one of the best of the world. For some people, he is absolutely, there is nobody else better than him. And he's been the guy in New Japan for so long, like ever since I've only been watching New Japan since 2017.
That's about
something right around in there, because that's when they were doing it was when Kenny was in the Bullet Club. Is when I started watching. So they did like one of the first matches the first Wrestle Kingdom I saw was Omega Okada 1. So New Japan as I know it, it's always been Okada at the top. Okada has always been that guy, which it didn't really sink in until I was listening to Speaking of Strong Style, because I was just like, I think maybe it's because we already had heard rumors that he was thinking of leaving. There were the rumors that he hired Barry Bloom, and then there were rumors that he didn't actually hire him. If you're not familiar, Barry Bloom is a high-profile agent. Some of his biggest clients are the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I believe he's Jericho. Yeah, and I believe he's Chris Jericho's agent. So this man is extremely powerful. This is
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, so but there were rumors that maybe he didn't actually sign with him. Looks like maybe he did. But yeah, then we thought getting Obari out, because there had been some issues with Obari and Okada. They don't like each other. Obari apparently doesn't understand Okada and doesn't get why he's who he is. And
Obari's not a wrestling guy.
Those are the rumors. That's what was going around, was that was why, and he was relieved of his duties. And so I thought it sounded kind of like when Tanahashi was named president, I was like, okay, Okada's not leaving. He's going to stay.
I think we all kind of because when the news came out, I think it shocked a lot of us, because we all were like, oh, well, President Tanahashi will fix everything and it'll be fine. And now Okada.
Then that'll be like, that's his first part. That's probably his biggest business, is to keep Okada there. And they're really good friends. That's his, Okada is his, Tana is, that's his mentor. And then, so I think that was like why it caught all of us off guard, is because we thought with Tana in place that would mean, or at least he would stay a little bit longer. And then he just said he's not re-signing. His contract is up on the 31st. So 10 days from now, Okada will be a free agent. I mean, there are some shows that he's got booked in February.
It's February 11th with Tanahashi.
It's his final show. Yeah. So the 24th is the title match. It's the six, because he is the current never open weight 6-man champion with Tanahashi and Ishii. They are putting their titles on the line against TMDK, which is Mikey Nichols, Shane Haste, and Fujita. And so that's on Wednesday, assuming they're either going to drop the titles or they're going to win them and then vacate them immediately after. I assume they'll put TMDK over.
Makes
and then
sense.
the 11th, and then I believe that the press release said that he had matches on February 23rd and 24th or something like that. I think so, I don't know if that will change, but he's technically
I think you're right.
His contract is for sure up in 10 days, and he will be a free agent in 10 days, which is so no, he will not be in the Royal Rumble. That's not happening. I'll tell you that right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to WWE.
I don't know if that would be, I mean, I guess that would be an okay place to debut him, but I don't know.
Well, that's where AJ Styles debuted.
Yeah,
right? When he left New Japan, that's where he debuted. So they could Shinsuke debuted in NXT, right?
Probably, I don't remember.
I think so.
But they have been putting Shinsuke
NXT is the only place they did right by him, except for now they've kind of apparently, as a play to get Okada, they have been treating Shinsuke better, because Shinsuke is also a mentor of Okada's. They're very close. So yeah,
it's interesting to me because in the book, I'm reading the Young Bucks book, and one of the other things is that they are very close friends. Because
they're super close to him.
He first came to TNA and didn't understand the culture here in America because of who Matthew and Nicholas are.
Yeah, he's very close to them. He's
helped him out.
Yeah, he's very close with best friends. He's very close to Trent and Chucky T, and it was because when I read that, he's also
Rocky Romero's best friend.
Yeah, and Okada is also very close to Motor City Machine Guns, because when he when he did his excursion, he was with them. And I was reading, it's funny because Alex Shelley posted about he posted pictures with Okada because they filmed a match Sunday night at Snake Eyes. The match airs this Thursday. It's Okada and Motor City against the System, which is Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers. So they have a match on Thursday, but Alex was saying they've known Okada since 2006.
Yeah.
And Okada had an apartment when he was in TNA, and Alex would go over there every week and they would watch wrestling matches together, and they would do so they're really close too. So Okada has really close friends in the 3 biggest companies in the US. And I even told Nikki, I was like, I wonder if he told Motor City that he was leaving, because that was Sunday that they wrestled together. That announcement came out on Thursday. So I'm curious if he told them, hey, I'm not going to re-sign with New Japan. Or maybe, yeah. So I was like, Okada has reasons. There's reasons that he could go to, I guess, technically all 3. I don't know how serious TNA is. TNA probably could fork over some money, and maybe not quite what
they're not probably going to be able to compete.
But
I guess it depends.
They made a play at Will Ospreay. They made a play at Will Ospreay, and Will likes them. And Will even said, I really enjoy working with them. I want to, I would love to work with them again. I haven't, because I didn't get to see TNA. They did do Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander 2 aired last week, because they filmed that at Snake Eyes too, I believe. So TNA is probably not in the running. However, they could they could be a dark horse. I don't think that's probably where he's going, but he has reasons to go to all of them. He's got good friends in each company.
Yeah.
It just depends. Does WWE? He could, somebody made the point that he could do like Shinsuke. He could wrestle at 60%. Have some good matches when he needs to,
and surf
relax
the rest of the time.
Yep, and he could. Somebody said he could rest his back from carrying New Japan for a decade.
So he has had, and Kevin Kelly even said this before. I haven't listened to it, but Jim Valley interviewed Kevin Kelly.
I didn't get a chance to. I was coming back from my tattoo appointment when that was happening.
I intend to. Like, this is like, I'm mad.
too.
I wanted to get to it and just didn't. But I remember him speaking with Garrett previously, Garrett and Dave previously. And that was it was like the first time, not the second time he talked to them. And he talked about and opened up about the fact that Okada's neck. And he was like the first time anybody had even like knew in America much. But he was just like, he's had a neck problem for a long time. And everyone was like, what? And it was like, oh yeah, his
like
neck.
Kenny Omega, and like Kenny Omega in the matches he was putting on, and he was like 60% at best. And so Okada apparently, I didn't realize that he had been operating kind of in the same fashion.
Yep. It was very interesting.
There
to
is
hear
that.
some
There's
of that,
of course
so.
there's the of course WrestleMania moment. I mean, for some wrestlers that is a dream of theirs, and so there's there are those things that could potentially entice him. Even when this rumor first came up, we talked about it, a few weeks ago, and that's still my working theory is AEW, not just because of the Tony tweet, just because it would give him the freedom. To live in Japan, or so his wife can still live in Japan. As we have learned, his wife is extremely famous in Japan. She is more famous than he is. Mm-hmm. And apparently I saw some people were saying that on the Japanese version of Twitter, they are very upset that she might be moving to the US and they're mad at Okada.
That's fantastic.
So apparently
I was
Okada
kind of wondering. I was like, I mean, I know that it was national news in Japan that he was leaving the promotion because that's the way it works.
Yeah.
And it does hurt New Japan. I mean, they've lost.
Does.
Like, where, I mean, I'm not like super duper worried, but we do need to like say that they are now in a rebuilding phase.
They are.
Like, it's Yota Tsuji and Ren Narita.
They should have pushed those guys sooner, but now they have no choice.
I don't think they thought they were going to lose Okada.
I don't think they did either. I think they thought they had another year.
They were going to lose Okada.
I didn't either. I didn't either. Okada, maybe Okada didn't know that he was going to leave for sure until maybe he just was like, this is my only opportunity. I'm 35 years old. The window is closing. I got to do it. Like, if I'm going to do it, we've got to do it now. Maybe he feels like his child, because he's got a toddler. Maybe he feels like his child is old enough that they could, if they do move here full time, if he stays in AEW, there's always the possibility that his wife and child stay in Japan, and then he goes back and forth. That's what Will Ospreay is. It sounds like that's what he's planning to do. And we know the Mirage Pac. He lives in the UK full time and wrestles whenever he feels like it. So Okada could have that. And regardless, it's somebody made a good point. He is Okada, so WWE may make exceptions for him. Like, I don't think that he would live in Japan full time working for WWE.
They did it for Gunther, though. I mean,
he could do the Roman Reigns thing where he wrestles.
Yeah, whenever he wants,
10 times a year. And he'll make an appearance. Like, I got to see him Friday night. I was like, oh look, Roman Reigns is here. He didn't wrestle, but he was there.
I do get a chuckle out of
it. He came out afterwards he came out after the match when they threatened to take his title away if he didn't sign the contract for the Royal Rumble match. I do
get a chuckle out of the people who think that now that Okada might be WWE bound, he will finally be the big star that he could have been.
I have seen some of the most asinine things.
I'm like, guys, he got the highest percentage of votes for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame in history on his first ballot.
He's a 7-time champion.
IWGP, that's just real champion.
IWGP, yeah, he's won it 7 times. He's doing the never open weight because he has nothing else to do in Japan. Like, he's like, why not?
If he's I get to
hang out with Tana
and WWE. He's doing them because he's slayed every dragon. else.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's another reason I think obviously one of the bigger reasons is Japan's economy is not great. We've talked about that many times. Steven pointed out yesterday that like when he went to Japan in 2019, the yen was basically equal to a penny roughly. So he's like, you could see something for 1,000 yen, which would be $10. I mean, he's like, you know, it could be 9.98 or 10.02, but it was roughly that. Right. He's like, but now it's like something that would be $10 like would cost us $7. Like that's the yen has fallen off dramatically. So that's part of the reason is New Japan cannot afford to keep Okada. That's obviously part of the reason they couldn't keep Ospreay. Apparently that was part of the reason Aussie Open they couldn't at the time could not offer Aussie Open a full-time deal and things like that. So they have been hurting financially. Obviously, the economy has been shit everywhere. And so we can, and it is
waited longer. So
I think there's a couple of factors. You know, obviously, I think the money. I do think his age, which 35 obviously is 38. Not old, especially in Japan, or I think he's 36 now. He turned 36 in November.
He's 38.
I thought he was 36.
Okay, I believe you. Anyway, he's on the back end of the 30s.
But in Japan, obviously, that's still a lot of times wrestlers in Japan will go into their 50s and 60s. So
they still got care of them health-wise.
They do. They don't work the same schedule either. They don't work a WWE schedule when they're on the road, you know, 300 days a year.
And they're all in a country where they have health care regardless of being wrestlers.
This is true. Right. So there's a lot of factors.
Our wrestlers don't necessarily, if they can't afford
they're independent contractors I'm sure they will lure Okada here and be like, we'll pay for your health insurance. I'm sure both companies will offer like, hey, if that's part of your deal, like we'll pay for your health insurance and for your wife and kid. Like,
he has all the leverage in the world, so why not use it at this point? Is what I would say.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't have to rush.
No, clearly not, since he supposedly hasn't made a decision yet. But yeah, so I mean, I can see plays for both. I do feel like AEW would own more. He may be more likely to sign with AEW because he would not have to move to the US full time, and he would not have if he did not want to uproot his child. And maybe he doesn't want his child going to school in America. Don't necessarily blame him for that. So they may decide they want to raise him in Japan and let him go to school there and get his education in Japan. Maybe they do bring him here. I mean, there's and of course his wife's career, it sounds like there's some consideration with that they've got it. That's a huge decision that they have to make together. And like, what is that? And then apparently Nikki said she saw something on Twitter about how apparently she's been taking English lessons. So people were a little concerned that meant, but I was like, that doesn't necessarily
just mean that she wants to be able to travel with him and be interactive with people. That doesn't necessarily I mean, I wouldn't,
but I guess if they're already kind of freaking out that she's gonna leave.
I mean, I get it because fan base tend to freak out, and that's just the way it is. So their fan base, her fan base is freaking out, just like his fan base is freaking out.
Yeah, not for quite the same reasons, but yeah, they're definitely freaking out.
The hive mind's the hive mind. So
right. So yeah, and so that is the thing: is where does Okada sign? How do they use him? Is he gonna somebody is joking, is he gonna be like Takeshita and have a banger match every 6 weeks and then we don't see him? But also Takeshita still wrestles in Japan. He wrestles for DDT Pro fairly often. He's back and forth. Like Shida wrestles in Japan often.
Yeah,
Emmy, Emmy is. I was actually wondering where Emmy. I was like, where is Emmy? I haven't seen her in a while, and I was like, oh, maybe she went back to Japan. She's in India. I don't know exactly what she's doing. I don't know if she's visiting or she's just trying to like spread the word of wrestling, if she's doing Chaco Pro business over there exactly. But she tweeted like 2 or 3 days ago that she's in India. So, he has the flexibility and the freedom in AEW to go back to Japan and wrestle elsewhere if he wants to. Will Ospreay is supposedly going to be able to wrestle for New Japan some too. I don't know how frequent that will be. And of course it's not going to be, and Steven and Jeremy, both pointed out that even if he does sign with AEW and he gets to wrestle in New Japan, it will not be the same as Okada wrestling in New Japan full time. Nope. And like there's the presentation type of thing with him. And that's what Steven was talking about, how he in Japan, he has this aura when he's presented on shows. And it's not if he's on TV weekly with either one of these companies, like we're not going to see that. He's going to wrestle, you know, depending on who his opponents are, like his matches are going to be a bit different. And so, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I didn't realize until I was like, it didn't really sink in until they were talking about it yesterday about how different New Japan is going to be without Okada. And even if he's allowed to wrestle there sometimes, it's not going to be, no, it's not the same. And
Okada as a feature or an attraction in New Japan is not the same as New Japan Okada.
Right. Well, and even Kenny Omega, AW Kenny and New Japan Kenny are two different
totally
Kennys.
Different.
John Moxley, because and we've talked about this before. There's AW John Moxley. There's independent John Moxley when he's like wrestling GCW and Defy, and then there's New Japan John Moxley, and those are three different types of John Moxleys. They get different versions of him, and so because obviously on AEW he has to be. I mean, granted he does bleed a lot. He can do some things. Independent John Moxley does whatever the hell he wants. Like I always go back to that Defy match with Tom Lawler. That ring was covered in their blood. Both of them were bloody as hell, and I don't know how they
finally made his way to OTT and bled all over the place a few months
ago. Right. So they're different levels. So AEW/WWE, even TNA version of Okada is not going to be the same. He's going to wrestle he'll be presented differently, and I'm sure, and so then you're going to hear the fans be like, oh, I thought that he was this big deal, because he is. You need to watch him in Japan. And I know there's the joke about the Tokyo Dome and how it would have been 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome, but the Tokyo Dome is different, and it brings in New Japan. It brings out a different side of Okada. It brings out a different side of it, of even Cody Rhodes, you know, and Hangman was there too. And like, so it's going to be very different.
It is different. The Super Bowl is a different feeling than a regular season. Or even an NFC.
Well, and then like, I mean, and WrestleMania is different.
Way than any other.
Yeah. So there's going to be different levels. And so it'll be interesting to see how American TV presents him wherever he goes and how often he is utilized. And maybe if he is injured with his neck, maybe they don't go as hard on him in either company. Maybe they give him breaks and things like that. Or maybe he, if he's on a random Raw in the Midwest, maybe he doesn't go as hard as he does when he's on SummerSlam or something like that. But and then, like you said, it's going to change New Japan completely. Like, what does New Japan, like Josiah was, when we talked about it, he was really bummed by the news, and he was like, this is like when Austin left WWF. This is like when Hogan left. It's that.
Yeah.
Okada is once in a generation. He is not somebody you can replace.
Nope.
And New Japan has their backs to the wall.
They have a whole new company to create now.
Yeah, they really do. And you're correct. They are rebuilding. They are in a I mean, it was already hard enough losing Will Ospreay.
Yep. And Aussie Open was a ding.
Yeah. Tama Tonga is not clearly on that level, but Tama Tonga is somebody he's been with him for 14 years. Tama Tonga was a big part of what they did. Like he was very he was not on an Osprey level, but Tama Tonga is somebody who meant a lot to that company, and he did a lot for them. And so now he's gone. Saturday was his last match. He's gone.
And Tana and Naito are too old to be the future of the company at this point.
Yeah, and so we had already talked about like how long is Naito going to be champion for? Like this is not going to be a year-long run. And you and I were talking about how Zack Sabre Jr. will probably have to step up, and he will probably, like, it's time for him to be in the big picture scene. When I was talking to Josiah the other night, I was like, besides Zack, it's Shingo. Like, Shingo is somebody who
Shingo. Shingo and Zack I mean,
I think those are going to be there too. I
Yoda
think they're going to
Suji ultimately needs to start being in that picture, I think. Because he's very popular. He needs to not, they don't need to rush it, but
they do need to rush it. Yeah, it's gotta be.
They don't, I mean, they kind of don't, it's almost sink or swim right now for them.
And you have to wonder what the plans were for this, because Ghetto is a lot like Tony Khan, where he has his champions mapped out for a year and all his stories are mapped out. And they included Okada. Well, I know they did, because Okada, nobody thought he was leaving. For sure. And so maybe he had like kind of when those rumors came out, maybe he started thinking, okay, if Okada leaves, like these are the guys I need to look at. But who knows how far he got with fleshing out ideas for them. And so he has a whole year that basically is going down the toilet because Okada's out of the picture. Like the only thing is probably Naito, but Naito, who knows? I don't think, I mean, Naito probably was not going to drop the title to Okada, but like now, like he's going to have to rebuild. You can't replace Okada, so it's hard to say to because you can't. You just have to build new stars basically, and you have to push.
You're going to have to start over.
Yeah, and they made and they lost Jay White too.
Yep.
Like Jay, and he's gone. They lost Juice. David Finlay is there. He's not quite where he needs to be. Hopefully, I mean, this is a time for a lot of people to step up. And Steven pointed this out yesterday, and it was something that I had thought of too. And I was like, well, maybe with him being gone, maybe we'll see more big teats in New Japan. Maybe they'll utilize that. And then Steven pointed out, like, maybe more Tom Lawler, more West Coast Wrecking Crew, these people that we see on Strong, maybe they get more opportunities. And they're going to have to make the most of those opportunities that they get. And I'd love to see more of Big Teats and Filthy Tom and West Coast Wrecking Crew, like all of them. I would love to see them in New Japan. They've got to rebuild that tag team division some. They need to build it up. I didn't watch the show yesterday. I did see Brad talking about it, and Brad said it was not good. There was a lot of stuff. I saw a couple other people that said it was not great, but I was like, I think morale's probably down a little bit too. They're all probably, because like Yuji Nagata tweeted and he said, I woke up to disappointing news. So like it's affecting, and it's affecting them a lot too. And I can only imagine what that locker room is like. That's their locker room leader. That is the biggest star in their company.
Yeah.
Not that other people don't. Clearly Naito was a draw. Other people are a draw.
Obviously, I mean, he's the most recent guy.
Yeah.
And he has been, I mean, for all of us. Whether you're in the locker room or you're watching. It's weird. It's a weird thing to even think about a New Japan without an Okada.
Yeah, like February 11th is going to be hard. Like when I saw that, I was like, I don't know that I'm ready for a farewell.
I might cry.
And sure, yeah, right. And I was like, and maybe it's a farewell for now. Perhaps Okada does go to AEW where he's allowed to come to New Japan sometimes, which of course will not be the same. Maybe he gets to have a Wrestle Kingdom match in a couple of years or something like that. And then, but still,
I mean, WWE is still trying to make inroads in Japan. Maybe they make a couple of exceptions for him for some big shows to try and make good. I don't but it's Triple H in charge now and not Vince. So
And Okada is an outlier. Like Okada is that's somebody you can't pass on. You have to make a play at him, whether he goes to WWE or not. But I'm sure they're gonna probably back up the Brinks truck for him. They're gonna tell him he can wrestle WrestleMania, and they're probably gonna give him whatever it is that he wants. If he,
that's so true.
They're gonna, which they should. Everybody should want Okada. I mean, they should. If they're not going after Okada, they have no business being in wrestling. You just don't.
True story.
But yeah, so New Japan's gonna. I mean, it's just interesting about, and like Steve. I recommend going to listen to what Stephen and Jeremy had to say.
I'm definitely
not to parrot everything that they said, but they pointed out, like, does chaos continue? Or does it dissolve? And then like what happens to them? Do they get a new leader? Like, do one of these new guys come in and be like, who steps up? Does Shooter step up and be like, Okada's gone, Tana is the president now, I will, because he's the biggest baby face there is, right? So, does Shooter, like, how does that happen? And then Do we see? I assume we'll see more Kiyomiya. I'm sure maybe they make maybe they make a play for him.
Well, they are doing the alliance thing in theory, so maybe they actually they might have to lean on that alliance more because
yes, I think they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to bring.
There's some guys that know. I mean, God, of course I'm losing it right now. There was a really, really great match that I saw over there, and it was the Soya versus Keno match. From the New Year's show was so good. It was so good. Like, it's on my match of the year list.
Oh, wow.
And so there's some good talent over there. They might need to use some crossover shows because they do have some stars.
Yeah, I mean, they may have to rely on that to get people to get fans in the door, because you don't want fans to be like, well, if Okada's not here, I'm not watching, or if Okada's not here, I'm not paying money to go to a show. Like, so you've got to get them interested and make them.
I also want to see what Fumi has to say,
because Japan.
Jim and Fumi had a conversation about it too. Like, I want to listen to Steven and Jeremy, and I want to listen to Fumi and Jim. Because
I really want to go back and listen to that. I do want to listen to Kevin Kelly's thoughts about Okada, but he had some interesting thoughts today on Twitter that I don't really agree with. He sounds a little, to me, came off like a little old man yelling at clouds a little bit. Apparently, he doesn't like that. Apparently, he doesn't like that Tsuji smiles. He said it needs to be a time and a place, and then he compared it to, it was very interesting because he compared it to, if somebody is robbing your house, you don't want them to hit a pose. And I was like,
what?
I get the connection you're making. Yeah, it was very odd. I happened to see it because it was somebody that I follow is who he responded to. I screenshot them. I'll send them to you.
Kevin. I think that being stuck at home as much as he is might be. I think he might be in a transitional. Kevin Kelly might be.
I think he's also at the point where he's not in New Japan, so he can say whatever he wants now.
Well, he's not in there, and he's not traveling around, and he's not living that life anymore. He's more of a he's at home now more often, and he's more normal. So he's probably transitioning into a normal life slowly. He
had some interesting takes that I didn't very much agree with, but I do want to hear what he had to say to Jim Valley. I'm sure he had some insightful things to say.
I heard it was supposed to be really, I heard
good things. I saw those tweets, and I was like, what? Basically he was just saying it's a time and a place, and Tsuji doesn't need to smile. He thinks they need to get rid of the nicknames. He doesn't. I was like, but don't strip their character to make them I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't tweeting. Maybe the thoughts in Twitter were not connecting and coming out. Who knows? But he just had some interesting things that I was like, okay, well, I don't agree with him there, but I do want to hear what he has to say. And if he talked to Fumi, I'm very curious.
Jim and Fumi talked about it too. So
I'm really curious.
late because I woke up and I'm on Jim's channel and I noticed, and I was like, oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it was kind of a little one that snuck in there, but so I want to listen to Steven and Jeremy, and I want to listen to Jim and Fumi because that's two groups of people that know.
Yeah. Nikki said he still has WWE brains at time. Yes, and he doesn't like women who time.
It happens to the best of us.
He doesn't like women's matches being timed either. But
it happens to the best of us, Nikki. All right,
it does. But it's gonna be a whole new world. I mean, this will probably
what a wild world we're starting. There's been amazing matches, but there's been some crazy crap already.
This is probably going to be the story of 2024.
It's only January.
It's January. We're 3 weeks in, and we've had, like you said, we've had incredible matches, and
there's been multiple potential matches of the year, and now major changes to
this is it is not hyperbolic to say this is a seismic shift in wrestling.
Yes,
Okada leaving is a huge deal. It cannot be downplayed.
It lowers the value of New Japan as a promotion.
It changes everything. And then I've heard All Japan has been having some issues. Apparently there's been shakeups behind the scenes, with some of their people. And I saw Lyric talking about it a week or so ago. She's like, AJPW ended 2023 on this high note. They were having fantastic shows and all this stuff. And then it came crashing down because of some backstage stuff. I don't know the details because I'm not super up up with AJPW, but like, so now you have that. Then New Japan is going through this. Like, there's a lot going on in the Japanese wrestling scene. And Okada leaving affects everybody. Really. Like, it's
game changer.
It is a game, literally. Like, it is a literal game changer, and wherever he signs will be a game changer for them. Regardless of how they book him, signing him is going to be huge. And then, however whatever he brings to them and however they book him, that will all play into.
I wonder if he'll be at Revolution. Well. That'd be fun for you.
Would be fun for me. Oh no, believe me, that thought has crossed my mind, and I was like, "Whoa, am I getting Sting's retirement and Will Ospreay and Mercedes Moné and Okada?"
I hope you are, because that would be dope.
I was like, "Is this gonna be like All Out 2021 where they had Danielson, Cole, and Ruby Soho
sweet
at one time?"
That'd be so great.
I was like, that. If that's what we get. Who knows if we will, but I was like, that will literally be the best $75 I ever spent.
Yes.
If that's the show we're getting. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen there. I do think we'll probably get Ospreay. I think he'll probably have a match.
It makes sense for him to have a match.
If he's coming in, if he's supposed to come in February, I assume he'll be doing something at Revolution. But yeah, this Okada news is like
wild.
It changes everything. Like, I don't know. And I hope that I try not to be, there's a lot of doom and gloom about New Japan. I understand it. I do think that, and I know there's some, Ghetto's not had the best track record with Evil, maybe not necessarily even Sonata either.
Yeah.
But overall, Ghetto is a very smart person.
Except for the Japanese fans apparently really like the Sonata story. So
yeah, and that's
what really matters, because that's who's going to the show.
They're the ones buying your tickets to your show.
They're the ones watching your TV, and they're the ones going to your shows. So
and they're buying your merch, and those are their two biggest money makers are ticket sales and merch sales.
Yeah,
and so if they are buying Sonata shirts, if they're buying, but if they're buying these things, then you can't cater to the Western fans when your the Japanese fans come first. Yep. And so it can be frustrating, because I don't really like the House of Torture stuff, but if that's getting over with them, then you have to do what's selling tickets. And I get that. And so I think New Japan is in a better place than people are making it out to be. Like, they do have their work cut out for them. They have a lot they have to do, but they've got really good talent there. Like, you've got Naito. Naito's one of your most popular. Of course, it is hard, especially because he has vision issues and things like that. And so, I mean, you can't rely on him forever. But for now, Naito is probably the best person to be in the position he's in at this very moment. Like, Naito is that person.
Yeah.
Then you've got Hiramu. Like, Hiramu is a huge draw for them. And he's somebody that's a fan favorite in both Japan and, in the Western world. There's kind of exciting things for him. He's not in, he doesn't have the junior heavyweight title anymore. He could go to the open weight stuff. Do they push somebody like Hiramu? Do they push him to be in a huge spot? I don't know. I mean, they may have to. There's Zack Sabre Jr., there's Jeff Cobb, there's TMDK, who they pointed out yesterday. TMDK is probably the most stable group they've got, because they've got Zach, and they've got the tag team Fujida's there. Teets is there sometimes. He's here too, and he apparently, as we saw, impressed a lot of people at Battle in the Valley. They finally saw what you and I have been talking about for a while. So they have really good talent there. It's just I think 2024 is going to be really hard for them. I think there's probably going to be some missteps. They can't really afford to make them, but I mean, they're having to scramble now to figure out what to do without Okada, and these younger guys are going to have to step up. The veterans have to step up. They have to show why they're veterans and be an example to the younger guys. And these younger guys have to step up and be like, okay, well, he's gone. So because Steven pointed out, they lost AJ, Shinsuke, and the Good Brothers all at one time. And he was like, Shinsuke didn't hurt quite as much because he was number 2 to Okada, but that still was like, that was big for them that they lost. So they've lost big stars before. Of course, nobody of Okada's level, but it's going to be rough. I think some shows are going to probably be like yesterday, where it's going to take some time, but I have faith in them, and I think that I will give them the grace that they need to figure this out. I still think like New Japan Cup is still going to be really good. I think, BOSJ should be great. The G1, I mean, who the hell knows what they'll do in the G1 without Okada? When's the last time Okada hasn't? I mean, he's won.
It didn't dawn on me until Garrett and Dave, because I was listening to Garrett and Dave from Friday, and Dave said, "Oh my God, Okada won't be in the G1." And Garrett like paused, and I was like, "Oh my God, you two, shut up."
Yeah, I said that as I was saying, like, listening,
like,
there's the things to look forward to, and I was like, "There's going to be a G1 with no Okada."
I just didn't think about it until he really said it, and I think he realized it, and then he made me realize it. I was like, "Oh."
And he's won the New Japan Cup twice. I don't think he was going to win this year, because I think, hopefully maybe that's where Tsuji wins, or one of these young guys maybe wins the New Japan Cup. Hopefully not. God, I hope that this doesn't mean that they're going to rely on Riddle. I forgot he's there because I try not to think about him. I forget that he's there because I try not to think about him, and I really hope that they don't try to rely on him and push him even more than they were gonna. Damn it. Damn it. Please don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, so I don't know. It'll be a very interesting year in New Japan. I think they can do it. I think some days are going to be hard. I think some shows are probably just going to flat out suck, at least for Western fans. I think some of the Japanese fans will probably still enjoy some things, but I hope it's enough. I hope that him leaving doesn't cause too many fans to turn their back on New Japan or stop coming to shows or buying merch, and because they need as much. I mean, they've got to stay afloat, and so they need the fans, but they need to see they've got a lot to take into consideration to keep the Japanese, because of course there are the Western fans that you want to keep them, you want to keep them subscribed, because, Garrett the other day was like, do I even keep my subscription now? And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that, but for the Japanese fans, you want them to keep coming to your shows and spending money, and you don't want to lose them too. And so what do you do to keep them? Who do you push to keep them happy? Do you put Sonata back in that picture? Sonata wasn't quite ready, or didn't pan out. Well, maybe not ready. It didn't pan out.
It didn't pan out the way that
not until his match with Naito.
I wanted that run to be better than it was. I did, because I really liked I wanted Sonata. It to be better than it was.
Yeah, I really liked Sonata, and I was happy when he won.
I was excited about that win, and
then too. I thought maybe it would be Shingo. I thought had a really great. I thought Shingo was an excellent champion, so I thought Sonata was going to kind of do the same thing, and then he didn't. So maybe, should he get the ball again, maybe he steps up more this time. Maybe he's got more on. Maybe he will realize like what he needs to do. But who knows if Gedo will put him in that position, and maybe Jack Perry ends up being a bigger factor. I mean, maybe he wins the New Japan. Maybe he's going to be in the New Japan Cup and he wins, and they may have already had plans for him to do some stuff. So maybe they lean on Jack Perry this year. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
It's so weird. It's just weird to think about it.
It is weird. But yes, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I know you've got your in real life things. I just realized what time it was. So I don't want to make you miss too much. And then also, so if you are not already a subscriber, please do subscribe to the Fight Game Media Network. We're live every Sunday. The Dynamite show is live every Wednesday after Dynamite. Speaking of Strong Style, is live on Thursday. It's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. There's sometimes emergency shows. There's all kinds of
We've been doing Observe This is coming back to our free feed.
Yeah,
and we are. I mean, we've been doing more like quick shows, impromptu.
Yeah, so there is that type of stuff. Yeah.
So keep an eye on that because this is a lot of fun. We've been trying to do it, but also like people are doing it. So like check that stuff out because it's really fun. Like
and then
it was really cool that Steven and Jeremy were like, "Hey, 911 show." I was like, awesome.
Right. And then wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find Fight Game Media. There's The Wrap, which is WWE coverage. The Boom is over there. There's all kinds of really great stuff coming from Fight Game Media. And we appreciate your support, whether it's liking and commenting and subscribing.
Sorry, that whole deal in the background there.
It helps. And so we appreciate you spending your time with us, especially if you've been with us all 101 episodes, or if this is your first time. We appreciate you. Make sure that you follow us at Powerbombshells on Twitter and Instagram. We're trying to be more active on Instagram. I always say
we're on Threads also, and I am trying to remember. I do the best I can, and if you want an invite to our Discord, that's just gg@fightgamemedia.com, and make sure that you just said, "Hey, Sam and Mel said I was cool," and then if you turn out to not be cool, I won't kick you out personally. So.
There you go. I am not in the Discord, so Mel will act on my behalf.
I am the arbiter of the Powerbombshells Discordia. So
yes, so I appreciate. So go talk to Mel.
But Sam does a lot, guys. She does a lot. So it's the least I can do for her.
I appreciate
to be the Discord person.
But we will be back next Sunday at 1:00, and who the hell knows what will happen in the next week? Maybe we'll have a calm week, but the way 2024 is going, I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know what to expect anymore. I don't know what's real anymore. All right. Have a great week, everyone, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.